Okay, here we are. This is how to draw a speed record car number 3. And as you might be able to tell if you saw it yesterday, I did quite a bit on the lower side of the body in the front. And I'm going to try and finish this up as much as I can get to today. And the reason I'm doing this is because this is really the darkest part of the car. Even the shadow underneath the car isn't as dark as this is. So like I always do, I want to get the darkest parts done first, and then that way it lets me know how dark the darkest ones are, so I can use the highlights against it to make it look as exciting as I can. So here we are, we're doing it again. I'm just covering the side with dots, and I usually do it in patterns. I'll just put dots in what looks like a line, but it's not really. It's just a series of dots put together. And that works pretty well for me. I sometimes do those vertically or at an angle, and then I put the next one in at another angle, which is kind of like cross-hatching, but it's a little bit softer because it's a whole bunch of dots with some white interspersed in between. And that makes it just different enough that I think it makes it kind of a little bit more exciting to me. But there are certainly people who do beautiful work with cross hatching and stuff, and I don't begrudge them that. I think it looks great for them, but this is the way I like to do it, and I think it just suits me better. It just makes me feel better, especially in the older cars like this car. Of course, this is really old, and I just love this car. From the first time I heard that there were steam-powered cars and I saw this picture, I just fell in love with it, and I figured, being as I had time to do an old car this time, that I would go ahead and do it. Like I said yesterday, the guts that this driver had to drive this thing at the speed that he did, nearly 130 miles an hour, I just can't conceive of what it took to make the leap of faith to climb in behind the wheel of this thing and take off. Not only, like we were talking about yesterday, was he going very fast in a car that has virtually no brakes on it, and it's got what look like bicycle tires and rims, which were basically about what motorcycles had at the time too, and the steam cars of the day, the steam buggies of the day. But on top of that, this thing had a flat bottom on it and probably very limited suspension. I can't tell from the photograph what the suspension was really like, but I'm guessing that over the sandy soil that he was going over, the sand actually of the beach at Ormond, Florida, that this thing could not have been a very pleasant ride, especially at extremely high speeds. And on top of that, you'll notice there's no windshield, and all he was wearing was a pair of goggles and a leather helmet. So, I mean, this guy was really gutsy. And then there were also stories about all the people who had problems with steam engines, the boilers exploding, like they did on locomotives and like they had a long time before on boats and stuff like that. But those were largely myths and rumors that happened, but very few steam cars, from what I have been able to research, actually blew up. There have been some cases of it, and usually there's some other mitigating factor in it. But just the same, here he is going 127 plus miles an hour, and he's got a boiler full of steam behind him, and if anything happens and that were to rupture or a line would break and all that steam got exhausted at one time, it would be very unpleasant for him sitting in front of there, I'm pretty sure. And it wouldn't sound good, and it would probably blow the body off of it if it didn't blow him out of it too. So, like I say, guy just had monstrous courage to be able to climb in this thing and do what he did. And like I said yesterday, it was the longest record of any kind ever held for a speed record. It only held the actual absolute land speed record for 3 years, but for a steam-powered automobile, which is the classification, this kept its place for 103 years. If you think about that, that's just amazing. I mean, that's like half of forever. So altogether, it was a very, very interesting car. Okay, looks like we're about out of time today. I'll finish this up tomorrow, and we'll work on the rest of the side. I hope to see you then. Thank you. Bye.